We are so excited to be here today. My name is Elena Carroll, and I am the VP of Marketing here at Upswing. We are going to be talking about from insecurity to success, navigating the not so basic needs of non-traditional students. And I'm very excited today to be joined by some of my colleagues here at Upswing, as well as Ulric Hill from Durham Tech. So we have a very packed agenda for today. Before I dig into that, I did want to do just a little bit of housekeeping. A few things. We will be recording today's webinar. So if you have to hop off early or you need to want to re-listen to the webinar again, you can absolutely do that later. We'll get that recording out to you all within a couple of days. Additionally, we do have Simone from the marketing team monitoring the Q&A. So you can post your questions in there. We have a Q&A planned at the end where you'll specifically get to ask Mr. Hill some questions about his experience. You can also ask the support team here as they'll be talking about some things that they've been observing. But feel free to use that. You can also drop in the chat if you have any comments or if you'd like to tell everyone where you're coming from today, you're more than welcome to use that as well. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the webinar today. Okay, so in terms of our agenda, what you can expect is that we're going to talk a little bit just to introduce you if you're not familiar with Upswing, not familiar with what we do. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to hand it over to the support team who are going to share their insights from the students that we've been talking to through Anna, our SMS assistant. After that, we're going to go into a Q&A with Mr. Hill from Durham Tech, and we're going to get to ask him some questions about his experience on this topic, and then give you all an opportunity as well to ask him questions. All right, wonderful. So as I said, I wanted to just talk a little bit about Upswing for those of you that may be new to us today. First of all, welcome. We're so happy you're here. Upswing was founded literally a decade ago, and our mission has been to reduce the barriers to graduation for non-traditional students. We provide wraparound student support services to colleges and universities throughout the United States and Canada. Our products include online tutoring, advising, writing support, mental health, and an SMS-based virtual assistant. So I also wanted to make sure, because we're going to be talking about Anna in the next session, to just introduce Anna to you all. Anna is the name that we have for our SMS-based messaging tool, and Anna provides messages and on-demand support for students. These types of messages include information about what's happening on campus, also information about mental health. We do a lot of encouragement messages to students to really help them stay motivated throughout the semester. We also lead them to resources that are provided by our partners and also resources on the Upswing platform. And our main goal with Anna is to really use it as an engagement and an early intervention tool to ultimately help retain more students. So I wanted to just share a little bit about Anna in terms of what we do specifically with it. So in the past year, we've worked with over 20 Upswing partner schools, and we have sent almost 2 million messages to students from Anna. So our support team is very, very busy. And they're particularly busy because these students actually respond back to us, and they send us lots of questions, ask us lots of different things each day. So their time is really spent supporting students and making sure that we're leading them to the right resources. Not to, introduce them a little bit here, but super excited to have with me Addie and Zoe from our support team. Like I said, they're really working on the front lines, talking to students every single day. And I'm going to turn it over to them so they can talk through, again, what their insights have been regarding basic needs and non-traditional students. So Addie, I'll let you go ahead.
Thank you, Elena, for the very, very kind introduction. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Really excited to talk through some of the needs that we're seeing from our students. So to start us off today, I wanted us to take a look at a message that we sent to 16 of our partner schools during the spring of 2023. That was around community resources. So in total, we had 1,230 students respond to this campaign, which gave this an average engagement rate of about 2.69%. That means maybe nothing for a lot of you, but it's a rather low engagement rate, but we still did see quite a few students responding to this campaign. And with this message, we wanted to ask students, would you like information about any of these community resources? And we gave them the option to choose between food assistance, free health clinics, community resources, just more general, childcare assistance, or all of the above. So let's see how those students responded. Next slide, Elena. Okay, so out of all of the responses to this campaign, over 42.2% of students that selected food assistance. And that totaled to 496 students across all of our partner schools. Now, this number is interesting because we can see that there were more students who wanted information about food assistance alone than students who wanted information about all of the resources that we were providing in this message. The data here shows how students responded to this campaign, but throughout this presentation, I want to share just kind of some real messages that we've seen students sending Anna over the past 2 years. Next slide. Okay, so if we take a look at the left side of the screen, we can see some real messages that students have sent Anna regarding food assistance. So students are often turning to Anna requesting information about food assistance programs, in addition to resources about financial assistance, help with utilities, even access to clothing. So it's not just, students are often needing more than just access to food, but next slide, Elena. Thank you. So food insecurity is an issue that's affecting millions of Americans today. One study found that 1 in 3 students is experiencing food insecurity nationwide. And while government assistance programs and food pantries are an option for students, there is often a stigma associated with these programs, in addition to a lack of awareness that these programs exist. So what are some potential solutions here? Well, first, students need to be more aware of campus resources. If a student isn't aware that there is a food pantry on campus, they're not able to utilize that service. Additionally, collaborating with organizations, grocery stores, or restaurants within the community to offer alternative food assistance programs around discounted grocery services or discounts for students at restaurants in the area, that would be a great way to provide additional support with this. Next slide, please. Okay, now going to change our topic here a little bit. And I want to share some messages that we've gotten from students around access to technology. So each semester, usually right at the beginning, students reach out to Anna for help in finding access to a laptop that they can use throughout the semester. In fact, one study found that although 99% of college students felt that laptops were at least moderately important for academic success, 8% of those students didn't have access to a laptop. And with technology being such an integral part of a student's educational career, not having access to a personal laptop that they can use can be a huge barrier to entry for current students or even students that haven't enrolled in college yet. And so while computer labs on campus are helpful for a lot of students, there are students that aren't able to go to campus to use those computer labs. So offering laptop rental opportunities or sharing laptop lease information at the time of enrollment, or even offering discounts on laptops for students to purchase is a potential solution to remove this barrier to entry for a lot of students. Next slide, please. Okay, now if we look at these messages on the left side of the screen, we can see students opening up to Anna about not having access to a reliable means of transportation. And one study found that 57% of community college campuses, only 57% of community college campuses have transit stops within walking distance. And many rural campuses don't have access to public transportation at all. Now, online classes do provide an opportunity for students to take courses, but there are many programs that do require hands-on experience that they can only get by attending classes in person. And then other programs also require students to complete internships that they may not be able to get to. So what are some solutions here? Well, providing students with access to a campus shuttle to get them around the community from where they live to their classes, providing access to affordable or free public transportation cards, metro cards or bus cards, and then maybe providing discounts on ride sharing apps that students can use in the event that they need to get from point A to point B, but aren't able to afford the cost of that. Those are all potential solutions that we've thought of, but I'm sure there's many others. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, if we take a look at these messages, these are all coming from student parents, and we can see that student parents face many challenges during their academic careers. Student parents are having to balance their classwork while also taking care of children and working full-time or part-time, trying to afford, find access to affordable childcare. And all of that is a lot for a student and also a parent, just they're balancing a lot. So next slide, please. So one study found that the out-of-pocket cost of attending a public college is 2 to 5 times higher for student parents than for other low-income parents without children. And the same study found that a student parent would need to work 52 hours per week on average to cover childcare and tuition costs at a 4-year public college or university in the US. And working 52 hours per week while balancing school and taking care of your own is a challenge. And a lot of student parents aren't able to do that. So what are some possible solutions here? Well, providing access to affordable childcare options on campus would be a great way to help student parents, but also prioritizing the children of student parents for those on-campus childcare services over faculty and staff who may not be facing the same financial challenges that student parents are. Another possible solution here could be to partner with local childcare centers to provide student parents with discounted rates on monthly childcare services, because we understand that having a childcare center on campus isn't always attainable for every college or university. And then Lastly, providing student parents with priority enrollment so that they can schedule their classes around their work and around their parenting duties. So they're not running into the issue of there's only a couple classes left and they're at times that just don't work for that student parent. So these would all be possible solutions. Next slide. Okay. Here we have messages from students that have shared with Anna that they're struggling with housing insecurity. So not only are these students struggling with finding access to affordable housing, they're also struggling with being able to pay for their rent each month, or an emergency happens and they have this much money and they have to spend it on something that's not rent, and what are they going to do now? So it's just insanely sad. It's incredibly sad. It kind of gets me a little choked up sometimes. But we'll continue on the next slide, kind of looking at this housing insecurity issue. So in one study, the study found that about half of survey respondents at 2-year colleges and 2 and 5 at 4-year colleges, these students responded that they were experiencing housing insecurity. And the most common challenges for these respondents were access to college or across college sector, is not being able to pay their full amount of rent, mortgage, or utility bills. But some of these other struggles included just access to safe housing, being nearby campus, paying for their utilities. So there's, housing insecurity presents itself in more ways than just students being affected by homelessness. So what are some possible solutions here? Well, providing students with access to affordable housing options that are close to campus is one great opportunity. Then another opportunity here would be allowing students to apply for emergency financial assistance in the event that a student is needing help. In the event that a student's car breaks down and they have to, they need to get from point A to point B, but the money that it would cost to fix their car is coming from the money that they have to spend on rent that month. So, allowing the students an opportunity to be able to apply for that emergency financial assistance has the ability to provide students with the much needed support that they're needing during an already extremely stressful time in their lives. Next slide, please. Okay, now I want to kind of close today with just this kind of summary here, and tying into Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if we take a look at this pyramid here, at the top of the pyramid, we have academic support. So providing students with academic support, and then followed by a sense of belonging on campus, and then wellness and mental health resources, those can all support students and help them, help to ensure that your students are happy and healthy. But if a student's basic needs aren't being met, they often have to make the very difficult choice to either pause or completely stop their academic career to put their needs first. So understanding the obstacles that students are facing today is a great first step, but determining how to remove some of these obstacles is the real challenge. And I want to empower everyone here to explore the possibility of adding these resources to your campus, or partnering with community organizations to just try to provide students with this support in these non-traditional ways. So thank you for joining us and for listening as I talk through some of these challenges that we're seeing our students experiencing. And on that, I will pass it back to you, Elena.
All right. Thank you, Addie, and thank you, Zoe. As I think everybody can see here, Addie and Zoe, have the absolute honor and pleasure of talking to students every single day. And despite, I would say, even outside of that specific campaign that they sent, asking questions about basic needs, they hear questions and kind of, just please help, types of messages from our students every single day. And to us here at Upswing, we are definitely aware that, solving these issues is not something that we can obviously do alone. We have to rely on our partners. We also have to rely on our community. So we're just, happy to be able to present some information about this to hopefully get everybody thinking, as well as talking with each other, because I think that's definitely how we can learn together. And speaking of talking with each other, that's actually what we're going to do in the next section. So I want to introduce Ulric Hill from Durham Tech. So Durham Tech has been a longstanding partner of Upswing, and I had the pleasure of meeting Ulric in person, not once, but twice in the last year or so, and it's been wonderful to get to talk to him and learn more about what he's doing at Durham Tech. Ulric is the director of the Center for Academic Excellence at Durham Technical Community College. He's been working in K-12 and post-secondary ed for 20 years. Super passionate. If you've ever had a chance to meet Ulric in person, just his passion for supporting students and helping them just comes through with any conversation that you have. He also co-founded a nonprofit focused on developing underrepresented and underserved youth in his community, and he is a current doctoral candidate at Liberty University. So Ulric, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. We're just so happy. What I wanted to do was just ask you a few questions to kind of kick us off here, and then Simone can pop in if we get any questions in the Q&A. So as a reminder, if you'd like to ask Ulric any questions at all or ask the ANA team, we're happy to answer them as we go along. So I was wondering, just Ulric, to maybe kind of kick us off a little bit, do you mind telling everyone a bit more about Durham Tech in terms of the programs, the student demographics, just for those of us that may not be as familiar with it as you are?
Okay. Yes. So Durham Tech, we're in the heart of North Carolina, Durham RTP area. We serve annually probably around 18,000 students on all of our campus and online. Currently, semester enrollment right at back about 42, 43, 4,200. We have 7 campuses in the area that we serve students on, 7 different campuses. Our programs range from social arts to all the social arts in applied science, science, arts. We have a very large variety of programs that students can attend. Our Con Ed continuing education is a big part of our campus as well. Right now, we sit about 54% female, around about 40%, 46% male. I think our top 3 racial ethnic makeups are 32% white, 30% Black, about 22% Hispanic. We're still struggling, however, with getting our Black African American males enrolled. We're still at a low percent of our students being African American males, and we are really working on doing that with some initiatives that we have through our minority males program. So with actually recruiting and actually retaining our African American male students. Our average age between 20 to 34, probably about 2,000 students of this current enrollment is between that age group, 20 to 34 years old. So that, we present in itself a lot of challenges with things that's going on in society today with that age group. So yeah, that's Durham Tech. I love it here. I've been here going on about 18 months now. So I love it here. When I came here, I think my first meeting with Upswing was about, I think I was here 3 months and had a chance to meet Upswing. And so that was a great experience. And so I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of the webinar. So whatever questions you have, I'm ready.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the basic needs and challenges that you've heard from your students. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yes, no problem. I think some of the basic needs is really what we see that's going on throughout the world, societies is food insecurities, homelessness, but really it's, what we hear is our students' inability to juggle life's responsibilities along with their education. It's the cost of living is steady rising. And so students are really struggling. Do I stay in college? Do I stay enrolled in school, or do I leave? Because I need to work an extra job. I need to work a second job, or I need to work, and I don't have childcare. So, they're really struggling with the basic needs of life. And so we see that. We see that in our campus, and every one of our students that we assist that has an issue or struggling with some type of issue is dealing with, just being able to juggle life's responsibilities. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that juggling is just so on point, right? And Addie talked about too how students are having to make really hard choices. And it's like, do I pay my rent, or do I figure out how to get that, down payment for a class that I want to take, or do I fix my car, or find childcare for the week. Like it's very challenging for students, especially when they're taking time maybe out of earning an income to attend classes. They really have to see kind of that, investment side of why we're doing, education to benefit us later. And sometimes that's really hard, especially when we think about that triangle and that bottom part isn't being met. And that's obviously the most important for survival.
Yes.
One thing I was curious about, because I think, I've definitely, we always think about challenges and particularly what's been happening in higher ed as a, pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and post-pandemic. And I was curious if, just in your opinion or what you've seen, if you think these challenges have gotten worse or better or even different after the pandemic.
Okay. Actually, you can look at it. You can look at it in two ways, and you have to look. Did the challenges get worse, or did the access to be able to deal with the challenges leave? And so that's what we're finding. We're finding the challenges. I mean, it's still the same challenges. But the access that we had during the pandemic, or before the pandemic. Um, you know, we don't have those access, those resources no more. The students really came to the college, came through the college, and we had federal dollars, state money. We have local grants, local companies really just pouring in resources. But those resources had a shelf life, and so, but with that shelf life, the students. Insecurities, the students' issues, they did not have, there's no shelf life on that. Those are struggles that they deal with every day. And so they still look to the college to provide those resources. And so we're starting to see an influx of students coming in because they have nowhere else to go. They have nowhere else. I mean, they're tapped out or they don't know. So it's, sometimes it's not that they don't have nowhere else to go. It's the information, uh, receiving the information in the direction. And so they come to us, they come to us seeking that information. So yes, your answer to your question, did it get worse? I don't think it got worse. I think because we have limited resources, it just appears to be worse. So
Mhm.
that's what I believe.
Yeah, I think that's really important to note. We've definitely heard that from a lot of our partners in terms of just, the pandemic is, we'll say not behind us, but, kind of in the rear view window. And now, with the funding changes, that's definitely impacting, what sort of resources can be provided to students.
Yes.
And they still need them, right? Like they still
Right.
need them. Yeah, it's interesting too because ultimately, right, we're looking at these basic needs and how they impact a student's success academically and ultimately their retention. So I wanted to just kind of ask you about that and how do you think these challenges have been impacting Durham Tech's academic success and retention ultimately?
Okay. Yes. It definitely has impact on academic success here at students. I'm here with our students at Durham Tech and with students anywhere. It's hard for a student to come to class and to sit in class and to listen and to go home and do homework, and they got to go home to no food, or they got to go home to a house that does not have power. So it really impacts student success. We see a lot of students here that come into the come into our Center of Academic Excellence, and I challenge my tutors every day to not only tutor my students in the content, but actually throw a nugget out there, some type of academic skill or some type of question, just to see what's really going on with that student. Sometimes it's an underlying issue. Sometimes it's not really the content that the student is struggling with. It's those underlying issues that hey, I don't have a house to go to. I don't, I live in a shelter, so I have nowhere to study. So I have issues going on like that. That's really impacting my learning, impacting my ability to be successful here on campus. And so we see that a lot. So we open up spaces, we open up rooms for students to have to be able to get that quiet time in. And we talked about technology. We definitely have a loaner laptop program that we run out of the library. Even we develop that we brought in student success coaches in every area of the college academic area. We have a success coach that's meeting with students daily to find find out what needs are going on to where students that's impacting their success. And so it's been a big team here at Durham Tech. It's a big family. We're all working together, to try to bridge that gap, to try to be a one college, that one college model that everybody have an impact on student success, not just faculty. And so we have to do our part. So, but yes,
Yeah.
it does affect academic success.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. We did get a question actually from a member of the Upswing team that I thought was a really good one. And it kind of feeds off of your comment about, tutors kind of asking questions of students, to just learn a little bit more about what they're struggling with. So the question is, how does Durham Tech collect feedback from students to continuously improve and tailor support services to their evolving needs?
Okay. So we do have a student survey, campus survey that we send out every year for students. We have surveys that we send out for students who meet with a tutor. We also have a program, a Care Connect, where students can, if they have an issue, we update that into our system to Care Connect. And so everybody that has a part of that student, can see what's going on with that student. So students have they have a opportunity through surveys that we look at, that we run. And if they use any of our programs like the Campus Harvest Food Pantry, if they use any of our programs, we definitely send a survey out to get more information on the student.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, kind of talking a little bit more about maybe some of the solutions or programs that Durham Tech has implemented to meet some of these basic, needs, challenges. Do you mind talking a little bit more about those?
Oh, yeah, no problem. So first of all, we do have a on-campus food pantry to where students can go, and it's for students and employees. So it's not just for students, because even as our employees are being affected by these same issues as well. So we have what we call the Campus Harvest Food Pantry, where we provide meals, food. Frozen meat, canned goods, non-perishable foods, household goods, laundry detergent, toiletries, anything like that we get a lot of it get donated into us. But we're also working with our foundation as well to actually put more stuff in the food pantry. But we provide students can go in and get a snack once a day. They can go in and sign and get a snack. That's for that that person or that student that cannot afford to go to the cafeteria to eat, but they can go over to the food pantry and get a snack. We open the food pantry up 2 days a week for grocery shopping. So students come in, sign in, and they shop. We have a limit on items that they can get, but they can come in and shop once a week. And we know that's not going to supply a full week's worth of meal preps, but it will help them for that day. It will help them for at least 2 or 3 meals. And that's our goal. Our goal is to start helping them gradually. I mean, I know we can't afford to fill every student's refrigerator or cabinet up, but so that's one thing we are doing. We also have the Bridge Avenue Community Garden, where students and the community members and faculty can go and volunteer to work in the garden. And all the fresh produce that comes from the garden, it also comes into the food pantry. That's a partnership we have with the North Carolina State Cooperative Extension. We also have a Student Parent Success Network. That Student Parent Success Network is a program to where student parents come together and just share and just talk and share resources. And so we're really getting that kick started again. The coordinator who was running that left, and so we picked it up again this semester. And so it's starting off strong. We have a nursing room where mothers who are breastfeeding can go in and either if they need to breastfeed, if they visit the campus need to breastfeed, they can go in. It's open. They go in to breastfeed, or they can go in to pump. So it's things like that we're noticing that students come and have those questions about, and we're like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's be on the forefront. Let's open up these doors. And so that's one thing that we are doing. Also, in the near future, we are looking at affordable housing. Affordable housing right here on a piece of our property that we're partnering with different organizations and the city of Durham and the county to provide affordable housing. Now, or is that affordable housing going to be geared towards Durham Tech students only? No, it is for the community. It's affordable housing for the community. Now, what do we wish? Yes, we do wish that every person or every member in that housing area in the apartment complex enroll in Durham Tech. But we will be providing programs and stuff, as well to the apartment complex once we get up and running. Right now, they're still in the planning process, so I don't have a date, but it's something that's on the horizon that we are looking forward to. So definitely, and then we have, just like I said, the student success coaches in every program that meeting with students outside of the academic area. It's a lot of things that we're doing to try to get your students to be successful, along with the minority males initiative that we're running as well.
Yeah, that's great. I actually have a question about that. Can you talk a little bit about the program to encourage minority males to enroll in Durham Tech?
Okay, so the program is actually we is built on mentorship of the African American males that actually enroll. But what we're seeing is that being present to when we have open houses and stuff like that, to just be able to talk to African American males, to let them know that it's someone here, that look like them, is someone here that have been where they've been, where they are right now. It's someone here that have been there. And so getting them to understand that it's okay, it's okay to struggle, it's finding those help that help through the struggle is going to make you successful, and not being afraid to ask. So that's what we're doing, and just being able to be visible on campus, meeting. But the program is set up for, it's mentorship, where we have faculty and staff mentors, and we do programs. We just did a financial literacy program, where we had members from Truist Bank to come to campus, and it was open to the public, and open to campus for people to just come in to just hear about financial literacy. So yeah.
That's wonderful. It sounds like you all are doing just so much in conjunction with your community. I love to hear about the garden and, hopefully the affordable housing that will be coming to Durham Tech, which is just wonderful. I did want to ask a question that came in from the chat. Someone was wondering, are there any programs in place to support struggling international students?
Yes, we have a center called Center for Global Learning. We have we have tutors, we have a coordinator, we have a director. We have, it's a big program here on campus. So we do have that program. We do have that support. When any international student come in, they immediately enroll into the program. The program, even every now and then we get some students. Just for example, we had a student last week that slipped through the crack, meaning because of the multiple measures in high school, they were not flagged as to be part of the global city, the Center for Global Learning. And so, but when we found a student into our academic center for excellence to get tutoring, we started realizing that this student had a language barrier. It was the student, it wasn't the content part. It was a student that could not write and express himself in English. And so I immediately got on the phone and reached out to the Center for Global Learning. Hey, look, I have this student here. Is he on your radar? What's going on? And because of the multiple measures that because of his GPA in high school, he was not flagged to be part of the program. But even though that happened, they would immediately, hey, look, Mr. Hill, bring him to our office. I walked him across campus, got him enrolled, and he's doing well. So it's that partnership like that as faculty and staff here at Durham Tech, it's that bridging that gap. We don't want we don't want that student. I could have easily sent that student over there, but the connection would have been lost. So me walking the student over there provided a connection of caring, a connection of love, and a connection of, hey, we support you. So yeah.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And I think that's so important. And I'm sure, that student will never forget, how you stepped in there and helped them, which is just wonderful to hear. I thought this was a really good question, and I wanted to make sure I asked it. A lot of students don't utilize campus resources due to the stigma or embarrassment of using them. So this person would like to know how you or Durham Tech encourages students to actually come and get support when they need it.
Well, that's a struggle on every campus. That's a struggle.
Yes.
But we do. I do a lot of workshops. A lot of my tutors, I really push them to do workshops. And so we just do a lot of workshops, and especially for our writing center. Our writing center, I've charged my writing center to do at least 2 to 3 workshops a month, to try to get students to come in. And we partner with Student Government Association and Student Enrichment and Student Development to have fun days. We have popcorn Wednesdays here in the center. So, we bring in the popcorn machine. The Student Government Association, they stand here and they pop the popcorn for 2 hours. And my tutors, myself, my work study students, we're in the center just talking to students as they come in. Hey, you need help with this, or do you need help with this? Just really just letting them see that coming into the CAE is not a bad thing. It's a great thing to come into our center. So just doing stuff like that, just the partnerships that we partner and we partner with faculty members to come to their class. So every beginning of the semester, I send an email out to the faculty. Hey, look, I have tutors that's willing to come to your class. Do you mind it? Do you mind? And so that partnership of allowing our tutors to come into the class to talk about themselves, to talk about what subjects they're tutoring, just to have that face with, hey, look, yeah, I can go to so and so for help. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's so important. Again, to your earlier conversation about connections, putting that face to a name, making, services feel very approachable. And I love that idea of, actually going into the classroom and having conversations with students. And that's not always possible, right? Especially
Right.
with students that are taking online classes. But I think just doing all of those things just ensures that you're really trying to get out there and telling students about what's available. So that's great. I know we're coming up here on the hour, and one of the questions that I wanted to make sure that I asked you was just, out of all of the challenges that you're still struggling to solve, is there one that just feels like, man, if we could just crack this, that would be the key. Is there any that you would say are just incredibly important that you all keep working on? I'm sure they're all important, but I was just curious.
Um, so you're right. I mean, they are all very important. But coming from just a partnership with myself, being in the community, um, I really think that the food insecurities is very important. Only because our food pantry get a lot of visits, and so that's telling me that we have students that's struggling, that's struggling to find a meal, and and so being able to really assist students to where maybe we can do more than maybe we can do 3 snacks a day. Maybe
Yeah,
we can do open up the food pantry 5 days a week to shop. So being able to really because really food prices are just like just like cost of living, the food prices are going up too. So just being able
right,
to make sure our students got a meal, especially our students that's parents, because they're going home, they're spending all day on our campus learning, but they're going home to kids that the only meal they had was breakfast and lunch at school, and so
right.
now they got to worry about feeding them dinner. um, so just really I think that's big. I think that's big.
Right.
Make sure our students are not not hungry. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember, growing up in elementary school, and that was a big thing, especially on test days, like for state
Yes.
test, right? They were like, we always provide breakfast on those days. And yeah, I personally have never had to deal with that. And I just, can't imagine. I would imagine that's always at the forefront of someone when they're trying to sit in class and just worrying about that and thinking about it from, both a physical, but also an emotional perspective as well. So thank you
And yeah,
for,
you can imagine, how you feel if you miss 1 or 2 meals. If your body is really like me, I don't eat until 12 o'clock, every day. But if I go to 2 o'clock, my body starts to shut down because my body is used to eating at 12. So can you imagine how our students are feeling who waking up every day who don't have a meal? It's just
Right.
really, yeah, it's tough.
Right. I'm going to ask one more question from the chat and then we're going to wrap up. This is actually also about international students again. So have you had any issues with international students needing more advanced health services than what campus student health services provide? So I'll kind of let you answer that and we'll see where we get.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to defer. I've really, that's not anything that's in my purview of knowing. Um, so yeah, I would not be able to answer that question. I could
That's
find
fair.
out. I could find
Yeah,
out and get that answer to you. But at this moment, no, I wouldn't be able to answer that question. I'm
that's
sorry.
totally
I'm
fair.
sorry.
No, not a problem at all. I appreciate you answering that honestly. That's always helpful. But okay, well, I think I guess just final thoughts, anything that you would add, Mr. Hill, there before we end the webinar?
I just want to add that it's important, for the educators on colleges, universities to just be transparent. Be transparent when they're actually looking at, building their strategic plan, understanding the need of the students, and understand that everybody has a part in it. It's not just the leadership. It's not just the faculty. It's not student services. It's we all play a part, and building that partnership, building that one family, that one college is big because the students feel that. If students understand that it's a one college model, then they feel better. They feel privileged at times. Hey, look, I'm part of Durham Tech, and so we really like that. We really like that feeling. So yeah, just making sure that we're all working together, and not fighting each other. I know with budget constraints and stuff, we sometimes fight each other, over budget, but it's all for the good of the students. So just making sure that we're understanding that. So
Absolutely. All right, wonderful. Well, I just wanted to kind of close here by telling everyone thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you, Ulric and Zoe and Addie and Simone for joining us. We just truly appreciate everybody's perspectives and willingness to share their experiences with students dealing with basic needs. And again, I just wanted to say that we are going to share this recording out with everyone. You're also more than welcome to reach out to us if you have any questions at all. We'll do our best to try to answer them. If you'd like to learn more about Upswing and the services and products that we offer, you can definitely reach out to us as well, and we'll be sure to connect you with the right people. We are going to have some more webinars coming up this fall, so keep an eye out on your email. We'll be telling you all more about those as time goes on. And of course, please reach out to us if you need anything. And thank you again for your time today. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care.
have a great one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.